Joey Badass kicked off 2025 with a bang, dropping his fiery new track, The Ruler's Back. If you claim you don't know Joey Badass, you're either new to the hip-hop scene or just plain out of the loop. For those who do know, Joey is the embodiment of pure rap talent, hands down. His short but brilliant catalog speaks for him. But let's be real, no one saw it coming that Joey was actually going to challenge the newly crowned king of hip-hop, Kendrick Lamar, on his new track. He didn't hold back either, delivering sick verses that felt like a direct knock on Kendrick's door. The intriguing part of it all is that Joey didn't stop at Kendrick alone. He went after the entire West Coast rap scene, a bold, audacious move that hip-hop hasn't witnessed in a while. With this new track, Joey has set the tone for 2025, bringing back that fierce, competitive energy the genre thrives on. Before we break down all the shots Joey took at K-Dot and the West Coast in this explosive new track, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more hip-hop updates. Now let's begin by addressing the undeniable truth. The West Coast currently dominates the hip-hop game from top to bottom. They saw an opportunity in the culture's power vacuum and seized it, ultimately becoming the genre's biggest movers and shakers. That dominance is precisely why Joey Badass challenges head-on in The Ruler's Back. But before diving into the track's core message, Joey made a grand but surprising declaration that he's the new self-proclaimed King of New York. As you all know, being crowned King of New York carries heavy implications. It means you're essentially positioning yourself as a leader in hip-hop's most iconic region. Joey knows this all too well, which is probably why he made that statement before firing his well-loaded shots at Kendrick and the West Coast stronghold on the culture. It's a gutsy move, no doubt. Joey's confidence right now is undeniable, and you've got to respect the game. Ever since Kendrick obliterated Drake and solidified the West Coast unity, it was only a matter of time before the East Coast woke up. What's surprising is that Joey Badass was the one to make the first move. Based solely on the history books, the East Coast has undoubtedly been the dominant force in hip-hop, and Joey made sure to remind us of that on this track. Even the title, The Ruler's Back, is a direct homage to Jay-Z's iconic intro on the Blueprint album, an intentional nod to New York's rap legacy, no doubt. Oh, let's not forget the salute Joey gave to the one and only Slick Rick too. Now, here's a quick question for you. If we go band for band, who do you think has produced the most iconic rappers in hip-hop history, East or West? It's a debate that will never get old among diehard fans, and we'd love to hear your take in the comments. Right from the opening verse of this track, it's crystal clear why Joey Badass remains one of the finest MCs out of New York, even after taking a hiatus to focus on his acting career. Joey wasted no time reminding us why he stepped away from music, but more importantly, he assured his fans that he's back, and this time, it's for real. The 1999 mixtape legend made it clear he's not here just to make music for the sake of it. He's here to compete with the best, and in hip-hop right now, the top dog is none other than Kendrick Lamar. In the first few bars of the opening verse, Joey spits, "I got murals in my city, F a nomination. This is for every time they left me out of the conversation." A first glance, this seems like a direct nod to Kendrick's whacked out murals on GNX, and probably Joey's way of saying, hey, you're good, but you're not untouchable. When we listened to Joey's first verse even more closely, we came to realize that there were more layered shots hidden between the lines. His mention of murals isn't just about city pride. It's a flex about the love he gets from New York, a direct contrast to the mixed reception Kendrick often received. K-Dot himself reflected on this feeling on GNX. The part where he said F a nomination is clearly a jab at K-Dot as well. This isn't the first time a rapper has tried to downplay Kendrick's accolades. It's an angle few have tried to use to score a point, and that's exactly what Joey was doing here. He's making his stance clear. He doesn't need awards or nominations to command respect in his own hip-hop community. In the follow-up bars, Joey says, "I was sitting back, watching from an eagle's eye, trying not to react. Just give me one reason." These bars clearly show Joey was well aware of Kendrick and Drake's beef, but more importantly, they highlight how Kendrick and the West Coast have leveraged their dominance to reshape hip-hop culture in unprecedented ways. I think Joey's frustration likely stems from the East Coast's absence in these conversations, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. The East hasn't produced much heavy-hitting talent lately. Most of the rappers that have risen to fame from the region in recent years have been average at best. Let's face it, when Ice Spice and 6ix9ine are some of the most notable names representing a region that once birthed legends, it's bound to sting. It's quite understandable that Joey feels some type of way about the new landscape of hip-hop, but this track also proves there is still some serious talent on the East Coast. But before we dive into the real bars that could spark a coast-to-coast rivalry throughout the year, let's pause to give Joey his flowers. The thought, strategy, and level of intelligence he poured into this track deserve recognition. The fact that he wants to compete with the best in the game right now says a lot about his personality as a person and as an artist. Whether or not he can truly go toe-to-toe with Kendrick, the courage to step up instead of throwing in the towel like so many others says a lot. Competing with the best takes guts, and Joey has plenty of it, and that's exactly the kind of energy hip-hop needs right now. Now, in the second verse of this new track, Joey doubled down on his mission, taking on Kendrick and any other West Coast MCs, if that's what it takes to put the East Coast back in the driver's seat of rap. One particular bar in this verse that stands out is where he name drops the entire West Coast, saying too much West Coast dick licking. This line is a direct reference to Jay-Z's iconic opener on his evergreen track, 22 Twos. A clever way for Joey to show he's drawing inspiration from the OGs who once ruled the culture. But the bars that actually caused quite a lot of intrigue were the ones where Joey says, "I'm hearing people throwing rocks, really ain't nothing sticking, because if we talkin' bar for bar, really it's slim pickings." This line is undeniably another direct shot at the West Coast. A chunk of these bars feels oddly familiar, almost like Joey is weaponizing some of Kendrick's own lines and using them to fire shots at MCs who he feels aren't good enough. At least not as much as people glaze them to be. To be fair, Joey has a point here with these bars. This critique aligns with a long-standing conversation about the West Coast rap scene, that aside from giants like Kendrick and Tyler, the region hasn't produced many impactful lyricists in recent years, much like the East Coast. There's this general belief that a lot of West Coast rappers are riding on the coattails of Kendrick's success, particularly after his victory in the Drake feud. But what do you think? Is that a fair claim? It's definitely up for debate, so let us know in the comments. Later, in that same verse, Joey references Nas's legendary diss track Ether with the line, "F around with your soul like ether." Rookies might not know this, but Ether is considered one of the greatest diss tracks in hip-hop history, where Nas delivered a crushing blow to Jay-Z during their well-publicized beef. Joey's use of this reference is likely a signal of the energy he's bringing to the game in 2025. If he can channel even a fraction of the heat Nas brought back then, we could be in for some serious entertainment. The part where Joey says, "I'm out your reach, your arms too short to box," is so hilarious to say the least. That's probably just a playful jab, but then it's hard to ignore the disparity in height between the two rappers. Of course, Joey's not talking about physical boxing here. Let's not get it twisted. He's referring to lyrical sparring, and while Kendrick's pen game is unmatched right now, Joey's confidence is something to admire. Another standout bar that shows just how good Joey is with the pen is when he says, "This is that black Air Force energy coming out your speaker." This line is not just a clever nod to the aggressive aura associated with black Air Force sneakers, but also a direct reference to Kendrick's 2024 track, which featured a black Air Force sneaker as its cover art. Do you guys remember what track that was? This is a brilliantly crafted line that ties back to Kendrick while reinforcing the gritty, no-nonsense energy Joey brings to every song he hops on. Everything about The Ruler's Back screams creativity. From the song title to the wordplay and even the visuals, Joey put every element together to create a perfect representation of East Coast rap culture. This track was more than just a flex, it was a statement. Joey made it clear that this is only the beginning, a warning shot for what's to come. It is also a clear reminder that Joey is in on the challenge and the competition is active. If this is the energy Joey is bringing, maybe the East Coast might finally wake up from years of mediocrity. They have sorely needed someone like Joey for a while, and now they have him. I know a lot of people might argue Joey is just wasting his time if he thinks he could take on Kendrick in the West Coast, but here's the thing. This isn't about whether Joey can win or lose, it's about the spirit of competition, the very foundation hip-hop was built on, like we've discussed in a lot of previous videos. While names like 21 Savage and Big Sean backed down and folded like toilet paper at the mere hint of a Kendrick diss, Joey did the opposite. He stepped up, not just to Kendrick, but to the entire West Coast. That's bold and it deserves respect. This is what hip-hop is supposed to be. Competitive, raw, and fearless. Coming at the people who are on top of the game is hip-hop's heritage at its finest. For decades, the East Coast and West Coast have gone head-to-head, shaping the culture in the process. For a moment, it felt like those days were over, but Joey's reigniting that fire. The part of the track where he says we can run a fair one is another clear nod to Kendrick. If you recall, Kendrick said the same thing to Drake on Euphoria, offering him a chance to make the competition friendly and fair. Well, we all know how that turned out, but the message Joey is passing across here is different. He understands perfectly that rap is meant to be a competitive sport, but unlike Drake, he's not here for petty jabs or shallow claims. Joey wants to go bar for bar, MC to MC, as it should be. You know, you have to appreciate Joey's conviction and belief in his ability to stand toe-to-toe with the best in the game right now. From the looks of it, Joey isn't naive as some might think. He's fully aware that the West Coast isn't just about Kendrick. There's a stacked lineup of MCs like Tyler the Creator, Schoolboy Q, and Absol, all of whom are coming off some of the best albums in recent memory. These rappers alone could pose a serious challenge to anyone from the East Coast, Joey included. That's why it's going to take more than a single track to prove Joey's readiness to go against middleweights like Absol, let alone Kendrick. His attempt to bring the East Coast back into the conversation is commendable, but if he wants to make this a full-blown rivalry again, he's got a mountain to climb. The East versus West rivalry is as timeless as the Yankees versus Red Sox, an unending saga in hip-hop. For years, the East Coast ruled the culture, dominating charts and conversations. Now, it feels like it's time for the West to shine. But if Joey really wants to reignite this rivalry, he can't do it alone. He needs a squad of East Coast MCs to rise alongside him. Just like Kendrick built his network of talent in the West, MCs like A$AP Rocky, Benny the Butcher, Conway, and others need to step up and get back in the game. Until that happens, the West will likely continue its dominance for years to come. Maybe Joey's bold move will light a fire under the East Coast rap scene and get them going again. If it does, we're in for an exhilarating ride. That said, Joey better gear up for the fallout that is going to follow this track. Even if Kendrick chooses not to respond, you can bet other West Coast MCs will take the bait and fire back. If this is a glimpse of what rap is going to look like in 2025, we're in for an absolutely thrilling year, all thanks to Joey and most of all, Kendrick's influence. So now back to you. Hip-hop fans, what do you think about Joey Badass's latest move? Could this be the spark that reignites a new era of the epic East versus West rivalry? Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and hey, if you've made it this far, this content clearly resonates with you, so why not hit that subscribe button for more exciting hip-hop updates? Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.